Hey Legacy Builders, it's Jay McNeely here with JWM Designs and Marketing, and in this video I did something a little bit different than my usual. I actually recorded a Zoom conversation that I had with some of my girlfriends. We get together every Wednesday and we talk business, we talk tools, tips, we encourage one another, and one of the topics that came up a few weeks ago was WordPress and how some of them wanted to use WordPress but they were kind of intimidated about it. And as most of you guys know, I am a WordPress website designer, and so I love WordPress. It's my go-to for all things website, digital marketing, that sort of stuff. And so I did a Zoom with them and I shared my screen and just kind of walked them through WordPress to demystify it and not make it quite so scary. And so I thought, you know what, this was really good. It was a great conversation. I answered quite a few questions for them and I got permission from them to be able to share it with you guys. And so I'm so glad that I'm able to do that. And I love the fact that you guys are able to see this and just really get a better understanding of WordPress. Now, the reason that I think this is so important is because there are quite a few different, website page builders like Wix, Shopify, Squarespace, and a whole host of others that are not nearly as big or as popular. And those things are great, but one of the biggest things that I find with those that kind of bother me is that you're paying every month. Every month you're paying a monthly subscription. And to do certain things, you've got to increase your subscription. And when you're first starting out, it's just that's a lot of cost. It's a lot of money that you're having to pay. Whereas with WordPress, you can really control the costs associated with running your website. And that's something that I really value and love about WordPress, not to mention the customizations and so many other things I feel that you have way more control with because it's open sourced. And so I've done a video on the difference between WordPress and page builders, and I've also done videos on different page builders that I've tried out. And so definitely take a look at those. I've got those linked in the description box below, but I want you to go ahead, take a look at this video, watch it through. But if you've got questions, please feel free to go ahead and leave those in the comment box below. I plan to do a couple more tutorial type Zooms like this. And if you're interested in joining in on one so that you could ask questions, let me know, because I'd be so glad to include you in there so you can kind of see me go behind the scenes of WordPress and just kind of show you some of those basic tools that I use that are very similar to the page builders, but I think they are a lot better. So take a look at the video and I'll see you guys on the back end.
All right. So I am showing you the back end of a site that I just it's a demo site I just threw together real quick just so you guys can see it. Um, and when you install WordPress, however you do it on whatever hosting platform, whatever, it's not going to come with all of these different demo sites or different themes because we're in the appearance themes column that's right here. um, you're probably going to see 2019, 2020, 2017, 2016, and maybe 2014. Those would be the themes that WordPress comes with automatically. And themes are just sort of like the skin of your website. It just sort of gives you how your website's going to be laid out, and then you can customize it as you need. Um, when I build websites for my clients, I use Astra, but I use the Astra child theme. We don't need to go into that right now because that's a technical thing, but essentially it's Astra. So that's what I use as the base for my themes. So you'll know what your themes are when you go to appearance themes. You can pick the one that you want. Some of the other ones that I've seen before, Genesis, which is a framework, and then they have different starter templates that you can use and modify for yourself, which is very similar to the same thing as what the different themes that WordPress automatically comes with. So things you just need to know about is that what a theme is essentially the skin of your website. Is what some of the features and different things that you can kind of make it, your own, because they come with specific things like certain fonts, colors, certain graphics, certain ways that you can be able to put things together. But ultimately with WordPress, you can customize, you can do all those sorts of things. So just want to make sure you guys understand that. Now, the plugins are the things that provide the functionality. I only have two that are active right now, neither one of which I actually need. Because I'm using this as my demo site, I don't have the ones that I usually use on here, but what I can do real quick is I can show you, let me get the back end of JWM Design so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is the back end of JWM Designs, and I'll show you. So this is my website. Oh, my pop-up, I forgot about that. This is my website, front end. This is all the stuff that you can see. But if you look at my back end and you look at my themes, it's not nearly as crowded as the other one, but you can see I have the Astra theme, but I'm using the child theme. And just to give a quick background on that. So the themes are like, they're the skin, like I said, of your website. But when you use a child theme, what it does is that whatever changes that you make to your website and however you customize it, you want to do that to the child theme and not the main thing, because this is going to be updated by the company that updates this software, because you can purchase your themes from somewhere. And so when there needs to be a security software, or they upgrade, or they change something with that theme, they do it to the Astra theme. But if I use the Astra theme without using a child theme, what that means, and all a child theme is a direct copy of that. If I use the Astra theme as my only theme, what's going to happen is that every time they make an update, if it's something that does not go with what I've already customized my website, it's going to break. And a lot of times where people mess up is they get a theme and they make all their changes to the actual theme and not the copy of it. And so what ends up happening is when this updates, because it's going to update, that's what it's supposed to do. They're supposed to keep your themes and plugins updated. When it updates, it's going to mess up whatever customizations you made, because they've done different things with the code and all that. And a lot of times you end up with a broken site. That's one of the first things I always ask people when they're telling me they've had issues with their website. I'm like, okay, are you using the actual theme, or did you create a child theme? So I'm using the child theme. That's pretty much the scheme of that. Any questions before I go on? Okay. All right. So my favorite plugins, and I'm just going to show you real quick. I use premium plugins. Now, WordPress is free. It's open source, so you can download it wherever. But there are certain themes that are better. I mean, not themes. There are certain plugins that are better, and they're paid, and usually they're like annually paid. I like Beaver Builder, which is a drag and drop functionality, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And these are all ones that I either pay for, or that I use, and these are just certain things, certain plugins that I like to use a lot. And so if you look at my demo site that I created for you guys, there's a whole bunch of that just come with it, because this is just what I do to try to show clients like some of the different functionality they can have, so I can figure out what they want with different frameworks and stuff like that as far as the plugins. But my go-to plugins that are sort of my blueprint, this is what I use all the time. These are the ones here for all of the sites that I use, a couple of them that I add and subtract, but they're, for the most part, these are it. So the plugins provide the functionality. They provide the extra little things that you can try to do with your website. So for instance, and I'll just go to one of my pages. And let me just go back real quick, and hopefully I'm not confusing you guys. So there's two things you've got. You've got pages and you've got posts. Pages are like your home page, your about us page, your contact page, your FAQ page, all that. Posts are like your blog posts. They're sort of those things that are not the main page, but they might be themed as, something that you've blogged about, or that kind of thing. Because WordPress was built to be a blog site, but then there's so much more than just a blog site. So the posts are where you're going to be, where if I do, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So when you look at my blog, these are all my posts. These are individual posts where I post, different content. And so you can see this is what it looks like on the front end. And these are, my videos. It's got all that. This is what my posts look like. So every time I update or whatever, that's where that is. Whereas a page would be my website care plans page. It's a static page. This is where people can kind of learn about my services, my products, what I do, all that kind of stuff. So that's the difference between the posts and the pages. So let me go back to my dashboard. So going to the pages, you can kind of style your page however you want them to be, depending on what you're doing with it. And so if I do an add a new page, I'm just going to show you what it looks like on my JWM Designs website. So I can either use Beaver Builder or I can just build it within the standard editor. The standard editor is what comes with WordPress. And that's sometimes involves a little bit more code, but they've changed things up so it's not nearly as cumbersome as it was. So I'll show you what that is. So standard editor, let's say, I can title this sample page, and that's going to be, if I could spell. So we're going to call it sample page. That's the name what it is. And so then the standard editor, it's got a lot of drag and drop features. So I can add a quote. If I wanted to add an image, I can put an image right there, choose an image from my media library. Let's say I just decided to choose one of these just so I can say I chose an image from my media library. I can add a caption. I can add words, I can add covers, I can add a file I have a file I want people to download. I can do all of those sorts of things within the standard editor. But the thing with the standard editor is that you're building it from the back end. So you're plugging all these things in, but this isn't actually what people are going to see. So the reason that most people now use a lot of these page builders like Wix and Shopify and others is because it's easier for them, instead of having to figure out, okay, well, what goes here? What kind of things do I need? How do I replace that? It's easier for them to build it on another way. So let me go back. I'm not going to save that. Yeah, I'm just going to leave. So let's say I want to build a new page. One of the really awesome things that I can do is use Beaver Builder. That's that plugin I was telling you about. So if I click Beaver Builder, and it's going to turn this page, it's going to let me build the page out, and I can see it as I'm building. Now I can add templates, and I can just drag it. Hold on. Oh, these are landing pages. I don't want to do that. So let's say if I want to add content. So if I want to make this a service page, I can click on it. And now it's the service page, just like how you do with Wix or any of those other ones. And so all I've got to do now is go in and change the title. And then I can change the style, and I can change the color, and I can change the font, and I can change if I want to have a text shadow, and I can do all of that, and I can see those changes real time. If I want to change the back of the hero page image, I want to make it let's say if I want to remove that because that's just what it came with. And let me just find a random picture. So we'll just do this one because it's right here. I want to make it that picture, and I want to make it where it's at the center bottom. And then I don't want to have a gradient over it, and I don't want to have anything over it. I want it to just be the picture. I can do that. But I can see where everything goes and what it looks like. One of the other things that I can do is I can also click on this. This is what, hold on, let me move this out of the way. This is what it's going to look like in on a tablet. It's giving me the responsive. This is what it's going to look like on a cell phone. So obviously that's not going to be a very good image because that's not going to be a good image for what I'm trying to do because you're not going to be able to see that. But I mean, let's pick another image. Do I have just like a plain solid background? Oh, I'm already in there. Duh. Okay. Let's say, so I picked a photo. So let's say if I pick another photo. I got a bunch of photos on here. I don't have anything that's just plain. Okay, I don't know. All right, we'll just find something because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that's not a good photo either. Because the point of it is that that's why the point of it is so you can see what you're going to be working with. You know what I mean? You can kind of move those around, and let me move this back so I can kind of see my full page. But I can move this around just and all that good stuff. But it's really cool because a lot of people want to be able to see, well, where is this going to go? How big is this going to be? You can change just in your header, you can change the margins. Let me pull this up a little bit. So if I want to change the margins so that it goes down a little bit further on the page when it loads, or I wanted it to go up, or if I want to move things around, it's just easier to do. So that's why I like the page builders, because That's it. And then if I decide I don't like any of the changes I made, I just close out of it and it doesn't save any of that. So yeah, so then you can make this bigger, smaller, because that's just a spacer. These are all different things. And so if, let's say if I want to add something else, let's say if I wanted to add a module, I use 2 additional plugins. I have PowerPack and then UABB. They're both Beaver Builder add-ons. Sorry. They're both Beaver Builder add-ons that you can use. And so for PowerPack, they all come with their own things that you can use. So let's say if I wanted to add I don't know, something fun. Let's say if I wanted to add a highlight box or something, I can add a new row that has a highlight box. The box, it can say whatever I want. If I wanted to have a text media, I can have it have a link to something. I can create an icon. I mean, it just really depends on what I want to do, and it could highlight that particular item. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, and it's all on the front end, so you can see what it looks like. And once you're done, once you're satisfied, because for instance, you see how it already came with this whole layout. So there's not much I want to do. If I'm satisfied with that layout, I can just use that layout. But if I'm not satisfied with that layout, I can't. I can use something else. They've got other templates that I can use for different things, for landing pages, for content pages that come with both the themes and the plugins that I use. So you have so many options. You're not starting from scratch, is the whole point with that. And then if I don't want to use anything, I can just say I'm done. I can publish it, I can save it, or I can discard it. And I'm just going to discard it because I don't need it on here. And then just go back to my actual page, which is where we started. So that's why a lot of people use things like drag and drop. So a lot of folks, like, oh, well, you've got Wix or something, and then that's better. I'm like, well, you could still have that functionality with being able to build and see the front end of your design as you're doing it. You can totally do that. Just you're going to have to use it with the plugin. So, and the same thing goes with a post. If you want to, now with my posts, I do those a little bit different because I created a layout for how I want all my posts to look so that they're uniform. I don't use Beaver Builder for that part. I just go in and I put in whatever content that I want to have it in there. You can put your SEO stuff in there because I use the Yoast SEO. So I want to know this is my focus keyword, the SEO title. You can put the slug, meaning what the URL is going to be for that particular page, the metadata. So when people, when it shows up in your search engines, this is what it's going to look like. It lets me know the green smiley face says, hey, our analysis is good. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It just really depends. You can also see what your social media, when someone uses this link, that URL slug, and they post it in Facebook, and you just post the link to this post, this is the information that that person's going to see. And you also see the same thing for Twitter. So you can kind of do all of how your posts are going to look for each thing. So you can do that for both your pages and for your posts. So that's that. And then your media library, my hosting site is Flywheel, and so they have what's called CDN, and all it does is that it stores your information, like your media files and copies of all of your website stuff, in these different servers all over the world, so that every time someone tries to access it, it's not pulling from the same server. So your site will go faster because everything's not weighed down on your site. You still don't want to have like super heavy media on there, meaning you want to make sure that you either use Photoshop or some of these other programs so that the file size of the media that you put on here is smaller. You don't want super large media. That's why with if you look at my posts I'll just do this one here. This is actually just an embedded link to YouTube. The video is actually not, if you look at my media files, you won't see this video because it's not there. Because that would be too heavy. But I can just, go to in the drag and drop, and there's a YouTube, and I can just embed it. Just like I can embed my Twitter feed if I wanted to embed my Twitter feed. If I use Vimeo, which I do have a Vimeo account, I could put that there. I could put my Spotify account in there. Like you can embed all those things in there. TikTok, you can embed all that stuff into your website without actually having to weigh your website down, because they're going to be hosted where they're hosted. You're just linking all of that stuff together. So that's something that's very important, because sometimes what people do is they put all of this heavy stuff on their website and they wonder why it goes so slow and takes forever to load. It's because you probably have not utilizing other server space in other places. So you have to think about, do I need to actually upload this? Now, sometimes it means that, your picture quality is not super dynamic, but that's okay, because you don't necessarily need it to be that dynamic. Because if you look at which this blog post that I did, um, hold on, that's the same video from YouTube, and it'll play it here on my website, but it's in YouTube. So it's not dragging my website down or anything like that. So that's what's so important about doing that. And then right here, I mean, if I wanted to have the featured image somewhere else, I could, but I really don't care so much about that part, because that's really, the featured image for me is more important for when I'm on, you see it on social media. If someone were to use that link, I want the right thumbnail to be there. And it's also the same one that's going to be for my YouTube channel. So that's what that's about. Okay. Trying to make sure I go over some of the things. So and then, like I said, there are different different plugins that you can use for different things. And I'll just kind of go real quickly through some of the plugins that I like to use. I already told you the Astro Pro, because I have the Astra theme. The Astra Pro just gives me extra things that I want to be able to do, premium features. So let's say if there's a special font that you like, that you use. Astro Pro allows me to be able to embed that font onto my website. I don't use a special font for this website actually, but for some of my clients, they have specific fonts that they want to use. And so that's why I use that, because I can be able to make sure every time they type anything on here, it's going to always show up in the fonts that they want. Beaver Themer, what that does is just sort of helps kind of create layouts that I want, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So like, I want my blog to look a certain way, which is I want this thing here, I want my little ebook, and then I want you to be able to see whichever videos I want to have there, and just, that kind of stuff. Well, I use Themer, and what that does is it lets me create a template, and then that template, I can just recreate it over and over again. All I have to do is plug in the new information. So every page has its own template. So if I want to make a page just like another one, but be titled something else and be used for something else, then I can do that. It just kind of helps with layouts. And then duplicate page and post. So if there's a post, like right now, I'm doing a whole lot of these copyright videos, and it's pretty much the same post. As far as different content, but it's the same style. So I can just duplicate the one before and then plug and play the right information that I want. Google Analytics, Gravity Forms, I use those to create forms and stuff like that, and be able to send out forms. iTheme Security is what I use to protect my websites. I use it on all of my clients' websites. It makes it where it's harder for people to hack your website. It gives you alerts on stuff. It keeps your plugins up to date. I love it because it's just a bunch of different ways to be able to protect the security of your website, because WordPress is open source, and there are a lot of people who try to go around and break folks' websites and hold them random. So I love that. Manage WP is what I use. It's a different website. It's not actually WordPress, but what it does, it allows me to monitor not only my website, but all of my clients' websites. At the same time with one login, and then I can update their plugins and all that kind of stuff, because you do have to update your plugins, you do have to update your themes, all that kind of stuff, but you just have to do it safely. And so Manage WP allows me to safely update everybody's stuff and to know when I need to update it. I use Sendinblue for my newsletter and my forms, so that's why I have that plugin here. Optionally is a newer plugin I've started adding, and it just allows me to have pop-ups, but it doesn't make my computer go slow because it's actually hosted on Optionly's website. It's not actually hosted on my website, which I like because it's another thing that won't drag my website down. And then the rest of these are like the starter templates. These are just templates that come with Astra theme. Power Pack is what you guys saw as far as using different modules. Same thing with Ultimate add-ons. The Google Sidekick, this is new. It's going to eventually replace my the Google Analytics Monster Insights because Google came out with their own Sidekick so that you can like connect your Google Analytics and all that kind of stuff to it much easier than what you did before, because before you had to go through too many things. Now Google has their own plugin for all that. And then you've got SEO stuff, and everyone uses Yoast for the most part. I mean, there are some other ones that are out there that are pretty decent, but Yoast is the big one. One thing I like about Yoast is completely free. They do have a premium version, but you really don't need it, so you don't have to pay for that. That's one thing I like about WordPress in general. You don't pay for what you don't need. If you don't really need it, you don't have to buy it, depending on what you're doing. So I totally dig it. So any questions so far? Everybody still good? Okay. So that's just the back end of JWM Designs. I wanted to show you that one because it was just easier for me to be able to show what my website does and what I already do. But I'll show you this one because we can break it and it doesn't matter because it's not a real website. It's just a demo site. So one of the things I love about WordPress, so I mean, as you can see, this one has different things on the panels. Whatever you use, that's what you've got. So it's got different things on the panels and stuff like that, as far as like pages and posts and stuff. This one just only has a home page and a sample page, and let's see, this one has that. Let me see if I can. This is another demo site. I'm gonna activate a different theme. Let's activate Author Pro, because why not? Okay, so this is what Author Pro looks like, which doesn't look like anything worth anything, right? But it's supposed to look like this, but we can make it look like that. And as you can see, it says this is a child theme of Genesis, because this is, again, if they update Genesis, it's not going to mess with the child theme. So that's why you always want to make sure if you're using WordPress, you are actually building your site on the child theme. You are not building your site on the actual framework, because if you do that, you're going to be totally screwed. You're going to be mad. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Okay, so as you can see, Author, that theme came with its own sample pages. So let's view one of those pages so you can see what that looks like. So this is essentially what it is. It just, okay, so the Author one came with all of these different images or whatever, which are what came with that particular theme pack. And I'm only showing you this just so you can kind of get an idea of things that you could do if you want to. Let's say if you were, you're a bookseller or something like that, you could, have custom pages for your books, and you can kind of see what those pages look like. Yeah. So this would be just out of the box what it looks like, if that's what you want. But you can always customize it, which is the main thing that you want to be able to do, is that you want the ability to be able to customize whatever you're doing. So you can customize posts, you can customize your pages, you could add whatever you want. I mean, is there anything like particular you guys are wanting to know about, like how to do? Because there's just so much I could show you, and I don't want to just talk about stuff that doesn't matter. Anything in the settings, anything in the tools?
So it might sound like a dumb question, but so are the tabs on your website pages? You know how
You mean like
yeah.
these? Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the considered pages when you're
Yeah.
working. Okay.
So I'll go back. So all of those are, let me just delete that before I forget that I created a page that doesn't exist. Okay. Yes. So all of these tabs that you see here, they're all pages. and then they coincide with the menu. And I'll show you real quick because I didn't go to menu. So good question. So in your menus, you can have multiple menus, right? But my main menu, my primary menu, which is the menu that you see at the very top, that's stuck up at the top, that's what this all is. All of those right there. But if I want to make another menu, I could totally make another menu. I could put it somewhere else. I can add it to a side panel. I can change the location because I could create a footer menu if I want to have a different one. Because like some sites, they'll have a footer menu that's different from what's at the top. I can do that. I can make an above the header menu. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff depending on what you want your website to look like and what you need. But that's what all those are. So all of these are just different pages. And then, like I said, the posts. And when you think of posts, what it is just like, it's kind of like an archive. So a blog, when you go to the blog's homepage, that's the archive page. All of my posts are somewhere on this page. And then within that, it can kind of order them. If I want to, I can make it filterable where, because you see how I have categories, I have one that says branding, intellectual property, all that. I can create an archive page that just is all things related to branding or all things that I've tagged related to intellectual property. And then that's its own archive page. And you can just look at all that if I wanted to. I could put a little search thing up here if I want, and you can filter that out and look at it that way if that's something that you want. For instance, too, so this is my affiliate page, which is my favorite things page. So all of these are links because I use the image of, those different companies that I've either worked with, worked for, or whatnot. And all of them, my affiliate links are there. So someone can just click on it and it'll go straight to that with my affiliate link. But then also, all of my stuff from like Amazon, when I shop on Amazon and I want people to be able to use my links and stuff, then I can just click on here and it'll send them straight there, but it's through my affiliate link. Same thing or whatever. And I need to actually add some more stuff. So I can put all of these different things in here and people can do that. So this is sort of my version of e-commerce, even though I'm not selling it myself, but my links are still here and people can see it. And then all of my affiliate stuff is there. And then of course I have my disclaimers because lawyers. But yeah, so that's definitely something that's super easy to do. I mean, I don't have a super complex site because I really didn't need all that. I wanted people to be able to add their information and do things like that. The other thing that I do have on here is a really big form, which is this form. It's the website worksheet. And so this is a gravity form, gravity forms form. But people can fill this out on here. And once they're done filling it out, telling me about all their website stuff and submit, it's going to send me an email with all of that information on there. But I can also see that information when I go to forms. It's also housed here. So my contact form, I can see who's looked at it and I can see how many people have entered information, website form, how many people has looked at it, how many people entered their information, all that kind of stuff. And so this is where I can house that kind of information too. So yeah, if I did let people comment on my blog, then this would be where the comments were, but I just don't. I don't see the point in doing that. Some people, back in the day, people did that more, but I just don't see the need for it, so I don't. But I just show you real quick. So yeah, with Astra, they have starter templates. So again, like I said, you never actually have to start from scratch when it comes to WordPress. Back in the day, you did. Now you don't. There's no need to start from scratch. You can have a website up functioning with your stuff, with your pictures, really in no time. Because if you find a template that you dig, then you can just kind of go from there. You know what I mean? And kind of make it your own. And with the added functionality of the page builder plugins like Beaver Builder and Power Pack, you can add extra special features that you don't already have with what just comes with WordPress and what just comes with Astra. So Lots of functionality there. And like I said, you don't have to be original with it, because you can just take something and make it your own however you want. And these are all very well designed websites, but they're all responsive. So you'll be able to see them on all the different platforms. And you'll see how they'll look on a mobile phone or on an iPad or on a big, big computer. And all that kind of stuff. And you see, there's just so many that are here. And this is not including the modules that you can use to change up stuff. So coding is not necessarily required. It's helpful when you're trying to do certain very specific things. You might want to have some general idea of HTML, CSS, but for the most part, you don't have to have that kind of information, because there's so much of it there, and they kind of give you so much. So if you find the right themes and plugins that you dig, then it makes it a whole lot easier for you to be able to kind of, walk through the process and do all that kind of stuff. And let me just show real quick so in settings, you can have a tagline, you can have all that kind of stuff. Writing, you can just, whatever you want your default categories to be. Reading, you can change that. I'm not touching this right now, but you can just kind of see these are all just some of the different things on the back end. These are words that I was like, I don't want people being able to do. So you can do that. So if I did have comments, you can pick words that you don't want. If somebody puts any of that stuff in there, you could put all that. During the political crap that was going on, people were commenting. So if you put anything political in there, I had words that were just like, no, somebody puts this word in, they're banned from the website. I don't care what political, what you are, stay away from me. So you can do that. So that way you can kind of monitor your comments and stuff. The media size too. This is also important, because what's going to happen is that every time that you have your plugins and stuff, you might have to regenerate them. I mean, not your plugins, but your images. These are going to be the standard size image for anything. So you want your standard size, you can pick however you want them to be, what you want your larger pictures to be and all that. And it's going to make sure that it modifies it for you. Your permalinks, your privacy, I always have my permalinks being my my post name, so that it's easier for me to find. This is what is this one? This is just the image optimizer. I don't think I've used this one because I use my own thing, so I don't use this one anymore. So I probably can get rid of that one. Yeah, so these are just some of the plugins and some of the things that I use on there. And then tools, that's all good. You don't really need to do all that. User profiles, if I want to add different users to my website, I can add them and kind of go from there. So yeah, but that's WordPress in a nutshell. Not very difficult in my opinion. Just, it could be a little bit of something. Oh, I need to update this. I forgot I changed stuff. See how I have the data error? So I did not put in my, I didn't connect the right email to it. So this email was wrong. That's at the top. So that's why I'm getting all these data errors, because it's like, wait, we can't get your data. Yeah, because this email address that I use doesn't own this website. So, but you can see that you would be able to see like your search console. You'll be able to see how many people have clicked on it, how many people have seen it, click rates, your average positions, all that kind of stuff. And then you can also see like your analytics and stuff, but analytics is not going to show up right because I connected it to the wrong website. So there's nothing I can do about that until I change it. But yeah.
Hey guys, I'm back here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you learned something from it. WordPress, as you can see, is not that different from a lot of page builders. It's super awesome. It's my favorite. I love it. And I hope that you do too, or at least you're not nearly as intimidated by WordPress as you might have been before. definitely leave questions or comments in the description box below. You can also find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. All of my handles are in the description box below, so feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email, a text, you know, a DM, whatever, however you want to get in contact if you've got a question. And if you are interested in joining me on a Zoom where I walk through the backside of WordPress, please let me know and we can definitely schedule a time, because I'd love to have another group of women who are interested in just learning about WordPress on the back end, and I can answer any of those questions that you might have so that WordPress can be less intimidating for you. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying my IP for Business Blueprint course. I've got those. There's a playlist there and I've attached it here. So if you've got any questions on that, please feel free to go ahead and ask me those questions as well. I plan on doing a few more lives coming up really soon on YouTube, and I'll definitely make sure you guys get notified of those beforehand so you can join. I've got quite a few followers who are in California, and so what it'll be is I'll do the lives a little bit later in the evening on East Coast time so that it can give my California friends time to be able to join after work, because I know a lot of you guys are juggling a lot of stuff. So excited about all the things that are coming up. I hope you guys are too. I hope you're having a great time, a great day. And until next time, keep building, y'all.